Turning 70 feels like stepping into a chapter one never expected to arrive so quickly. Life moves fast. One day, you're in your 20s, brimming with energy and endless dreams. Then, seemingly overnight, you wake up to a body that surprises you in new ways every morning. These changes have taught me a lot about life, and one revelation has been unexpected. I've started keeping my distance from people. Let me share what led me to this realization. In my younger years, I thrived on connection. I was always surrounded by laughter, loved ones, and the buzz of social gatherings. From hosting dinners to volunteering at local events, I was the friend who never missed a chance to show up. My calendar was full, and I found joy in being a reliable presence for others. But as time passed, something shifted. What once felt fulfilling began to feel overwhelming, though I didn't see it coming at first. Initially, I thought it was just a phase, a momentary need for solitude. Over time, I began to notice patterns in my behavior. Invitations became easier to decline, and the once appealing bustle of social settings started to feel draining. I assumed it was only me, but I've realized that many people my age experience something similar. This isn't about losing affection for those around me. It's deeper, tied to the evolution of priorities and energy. In my earlier years, I gave so much of myself to others that I rarely paused to reflect. Now, I find myself craving quiet moments and meaningful solitude. It's as if the older I get, the more I cherish simplicity over noise. There's also a sense of introspection that comes with aging. Time feels precious, and I've begun to weigh where and how I spend it. This doesn't mean I've stopped valuing relationships. Rather, I've grown more selective. Deep connections and genuine exchanges matter more now than ever before. Casual, surface-level interactions feel less necessary. And now, I'll mention 7 harsh tips for old people like me. Number 1. Time feels more precious. At 70, the way we view time transforms profoundly. It's no longer just hours on a clock, but a vivid reminder of life's finite nature. Looking back, there were countless moments squandered on trivial pursuits, empty conversations, fleeting relationships, and tasks that added little value. Now every moment feels like a treasure too valuable to waste. Time isn't just something we measure anymore. It's something we feel deeply. Quiet mornings with a cup of coffee take on a serene beauty, and afternoon walks become meditative rituals. Evenings are filled with peaceful reflection, where we savor the essence of our journey. It's not about being busy or knowing more people. It's about the depth of our connections and the richness of our experiences. We become fiercely protective of this gift. Meaningless drama and shallow interactions lose their appeal. Instead, we invest in our health, nurture our passions, and cherish the company of those who bring joy and meaning to our days. Saying no comes easier, as does embracing solitude when it nourishes our soul. Relationships feel deeper now, shaped by thoughtfulness and mutual care. Letting go becomes a profound skill. Regrets, grudges, and the relentless pressure to do everything fade into the background. We learn that it's okay to slow down, to simply exist in the moment without a constant drive to achieve. Life's finest moments are often the simplest ones. A favorite melody, the gentle touch of a breeze, or the sound of genuine laughter. I'll give you some suggestions you can practice every day to keep in mind. Start each day with gratitude. Begin your mornings by reflecting on 3 things you're thankful for. It could be something as simple as the warmth of your bed, the sound of birds outside, or a loved one's smile. Pair this with your morning coffee or tea, savoring the quiet as you focus on the blessings in your life. Take a mindful walk. Set aside time to walk without distractions. Leave your phone behind, and tune into your surroundings. Notice the rustling leaves, the cool breeze, or the rhythm of your footsteps. Let the simplicity of the moment calm your mind and reconnect you with nature. Focus on one task at a time. Choose one activity during the day, like cooking or cleaning, and do it with full attention. If you're preparing a meal, notice the colors of the ingredients, the aroma of spices, and the texture as you work. Turning routine tasks into mindful practices adds meaning to your day. Pause to breathe deeply. Take short breaks throughout the day to breathe deeply and reset. Inhale slowly, hold for a few seconds, and exhale fully. These simple moments of calm help you center yourself, especially during stressful times. Share meals with loved ones. Make mealtimes a chance to connect. Sit with family or friends, put away all devices, and enjoy good conversation. Focus on listening and sharing stories, turning an ordinary meal into a meaningful moment of togetherness. There's no need to rush, no fear of running out of time, only the profound understanding that time itself is a sacred gift. Each moment, however small, carries a depth of meaning when viewed through this lens. It's not about what's left, but about appreciating the here and now in its purest, most beautiful form. Number 2. The shifting nature of relationships. With age comes wisdom, and part of that wisdom is realizing that relationships are in constant motion. At 70, I've come to see relationships as fluid, ever-changing aspects of life. Some connections grow more profound, others gently dissolve. I've learned not to cling too tightly, understanding that not every person is meant to stay. This acceptance has lightened my heart. Today, the relationships I nurture are the ones that truly count, those that bring joy and meaning. In earlier years, I felt compelled to keep every relationship alive, fighting against the natural drift that comes with time. It was tiring, often disappointing, but life has taught me to embrace change. People drift apart, life gets busy, and priorities shift. Some friends move away, some choose different paths, and sometimes connections just quietly fade. What once felt like a loss now feels like the natural rhythm of life. I've come to appreciate the seasons of friendships. Some bloom and flourish, others fade. And that's okay. I have a friend, Mary, who was once the center of my social world. We met in our 30s, and for years we shared everything: family stories, career struggles, dreams, and disappointments. Mary was lively, outspoken, and always ready for a night out or a spontaneous adventure. We were inseparable, and I couldn't imagine my life without her. As time passed, our lives took different turns. I slowed down, finding joy in quiet moments, while Mary remained the vibrant whirlwind she'd always been. We saw each other less often, but when we did, I noticed a shift. Our conversations felt different, lighter, but also less connected. She still enjoyed the hustle of social gatherings, while I began to prefer one-on-one chats over coffee, deep and meaningful. The last few years have been the most telling. We tried to stay close, but it became clear that our priorities no longer aligned. Mary would call me, full of stories about her busy social life and latest plans, but I felt more drained than excited after we talked. I realized I had changed. I valued slow, genuine moments and no longer had the energy for surface-level chatter or chaotic outings. Yet for a long time, I clung to the friendship, remembering the bond we once shared. Then one afternoon something shifted. Mary invited me to a party, a large, loud event with a crowd I barely knew. I hesitated, feeling the familiar tug of obligation. But instead of forcing myself, I gently declined. It wasn't an angry or dramatic decision, just a quiet acknowledgement that our friendship no longer fit who I'd become. To my surprise, she accepted it without question, and our communication gradually faded. Now, years later, I think of Mary fondly. There's no bitterness, only gratitude for the good times we had. I see it as a friendship that belonged to a different season of my life, a time when adventure and excitement mattered most. Today, my circle is smaller, filled with people who match my pace and share my values. Mary and I didn't end our friendship out of anger or conflict. It simply transformed, reflecting the changes we both experienced. That's the beauty of life, knowing when to hold on and when to gently let go. My perspective has evolved as I've grown older. I now cherish simplicity, honesty, and genuine connection more than anything else. I've lost interest in superficial ties or relationships that drain my energy. I've become adept at spotting signs that a relationship isn't healthy and setting firm boundaries. My circle has grown smaller but more meaningful. Now, I only make space for those who bring positivity, who offer encouragement, and who value the same qualities I hold dear. I invest in those who bring light, not shadows, into my life. Number 3. Trust becomes more complicated. With time, I've come to understand just how fragile trust can be. In my younger days, I offered my trust without much hesitation. Back then, I believed in the best of people. But life's twists and turns have taught me caution. I've been disappointed by those I thought would never let me down. Friends who disappeared, partners who broke my heart, and even family members who proved unreliable. These moments have reshaped the way I approach relationships, making me more careful about who I welcome into my life. Trust is now a matter of intuition and discernment. I'm not closing myself off to the world, but I've learned to set boundaries. I pay closer attention to my instincts, listening when something feels off. I've grown more comfortable walking away from situations or people that drain my energy, even if they've been part of my journey for a long time. My well-being matters more now, and I no longer make excuses for toxic behavior, no matter the history or shared past. Still, I haven't lost hope in the goodness of others. There are people who have renewed my sense of trust in humanity. A friendly gesture from a stranger, a compassionate listener who asks nothing in return, or a friend who stands by me without question. These experiences remind me that not everyone is the same. Moments of unexpected kindness have a way of restoring my faith, showing me that there are those who genuinely care, even when I least expect it. Then, you may ask yourself how to find someone at this age. Let me share some ideas. 1. Get involved in local activities. Join a club, a class, or a group that matches your interests. Whether it's a book club, gardening group, or fitness class. Engaging in hobbies can introduce you to like-minded people in a relaxed setting. Regular participation builds familiarity and opens the door to new friendships. 2. Attend community events. Keep an eye out for local gatherings like farmers markets, festivals, or charity events. These gatherings are excellent opportunities to meet others in a friendly atmosphere. Start conversations with those around you. Asking questions or offering compliments can be great icebreakers. 3. Volunteer for a cause. Find a cause you're passionate about and offer your time. Volunteering not only makes a positive impact, but it also surrounds you with people who share your values. The shared purpose can foster deep and meaningful connections. 4. Explore online platforms for older adults. Consider joining online communities or dating websites specifically designed for mature individuals. These platforms provide a safe space to connect with others who are also looking to meet new people. Take your time and don't feel pressured to rush into anything. 5. Reach out to old friends and acquaintances. Sometimes, Reconnecting with people from your past can spark new friendships. Don't hesitate to reach out to old colleagues, neighbors, or acquaintances. They may be in a similar stage of life and open to rekindling a connection, even if it starts with a simple coffee date or phone call. These lessons have deepened my perspective on relationships. I no longer give my trust lightly, but I also don't hold back out of fear. I've learned that trust is something to be earned, and it's okay to be cautious without becoming closed off. My focus is on nurturing bonds that are reciprocal and genuine. Now, trust is something I value more than ever. It's a choice made carefully, and when placed in the right hands, it becomes the strongest foundation for meaningful connections. Number 4. A world that has shifted dramatically. Turning 70 has made me acutely aware of how much the world has shifted from the one I knew in my youth. Everything moves faster now: information, people, and the pace of life itself. There was a time when days felt slower, more intentional. Conversations happened face to face, and neighbors weren't just people living next door. They were friends you knew by name, who dropped by unannounced for a chat. The world seemed more tangible, grounded in the rhythm of real-life interactions. Now it often feels like we've drifted apart, even as technology claims to bring us closer. I'm thankful for video calls that let me see the faces of loved ones far away, but I can't deny the sense of distance that screens create. Virtual interactions have their place, but they lack the warmth of a shared meal, the comfort of a handshake, or the reassurance of a hug. It's a different kind of connection, practical but often hollow. The noise of modern life can be overwhelming. There's a constant barrage of information, opinions, and updates, leaving little room for the quiet moments that once defined my sense of community. Everyone is multitasking, chasing goals, absorbed in their own worlds. It can feel like we're all speaking, but not truly listening to one another. I find myself yearning for a time when conversations were more than just exchanges of words. They were moments of presence and attention. I know nostalgia can be deceptive, making the past seem rosier than it truly was. Life has never been without its challenges, yet there was a raw authenticity in the way people connected back then. Something I struggle to find today. There's a sense of loneliness that creeps in with the speed and convenience of modern living. A feeling that technology can't seem to fill, no matter how advanced it becomes. In this fast-paced world, I find solace in small, real moments, watching the sunrise, tending to my garden, or taking a quiet walk. These are the experiences that keep me grounded, reminding me of what truly matters. They're a way to hold on to the reality that feels steady amidst all the changes. A way to remember that despite everything, the essence of connection lies in the heart, not the screen. Number 5. Solitude isn't loneliness. When I was younger, I thought being alone meant being lonely. The idea of spending an evening without company felt isolating, and even a little daunting. Back then, I equated solitude with an emptiness that seemed impossible to fill. But over the years, my perspective has shifted. I've come to see that loneliness is a longing for connection, while solitude is a quiet celebration of self. It isn't about what's missing, it's about what's present within. Now, at 70, solitude has become one of my greatest treasures. Some of the most serene and joyful moments of my life have been spent in stillness. Whether it's the peaceful act of watching birds flit outside my window, the rhythmic crunch of leaves during a morning walk, or the soothing embrace of sunlight on my face, these solitary experiences have brought me profound contentment. Solitude has offered me the time to pause, to reflect on where I've been, and to embrace where I am now with open arms. This quiet time alone has also brought unexpected growth. It has taught me the power of self-acceptance and helped me untangle the notion that my value is tied to external validation. In solitude, I've discovered that I don't need a packed social calendar or constant interaction to feel worthy or fulfilled. The peace I've found is not fleeting or superficial. It's rooted in an appreciation of who I am, just as I am. That's not to say I don't cherish time with loved ones. I do deeply. Time spent laughing with family or sharing a meal with friends still holds a special place in my heart. But I've learned the importance of balance. Solitude isn't a withdrawal from relationships. It's a foundation that allows me to engage more fully when I am with others. It's taught me to say no without guilt and to honor my need for quiet without fear of judgment. Now let's meet my best friend, David, and his story about discovering the beauty of solitude. David had always been the life of the party, a man with an infectious laugh and a calendar packed with dinners, outings, and social commitments. Yet beneath the surface, he carried a quiet unease. One day, after a particularly exhausting week of constant activity, David admitted to me that he felt empty, like something vital was missing from his life. It wasn't the lack of people, it was the absence of something deeper, his connection to himself. Everything changed when David moved to a small cottage by a lake after retiring. For the first time, he found himself in a space where the silence was louder than the noise he used to chase. At first, the stillness felt uncomfortable, almost oppressive. He called me one evening and confessed, "I don't know how to just be." It's unsettling. But as the weeks went by, David began to notice the subtle gifts his solitude offered. The call of the loons on the lake, the gentle rustle of leaves in the wind, and the way the sunrise painted the water. All of it began to soothe something within him. One morning, David started a simple ritual. He would make coffee, sit on his porch, and let the world wake up around him. No phone, no distractions, just the warmth of his mug and the rhythm of his breath. It's strange, he told me months later, but those mornings are the happiest part of my day. I feel whole. The loneliness he had once feared melted away, replaced by a quiet joy in his own company. It wasn't about being alone. It was about learning to be at peace with himself. David also realized that this newfound peace had transformed how he approached his relationships. When he visited his children or met with friends, he brought a calmness that wasn't there before. He no longer felt the need to entertain or impress. He simply showed up as himself. "I give more now because I'm not running on empty," he explained. "Solitude doesn't take away from my connections. It strengthens them." Through David's journey, I learned an invaluable lesson. Solitude isn't something to fear but something to embrace. It's a space to rediscover who you are when the world grows quiet. For David, it wasn't a retreat into loneliness, but an arrival at a deeper kind of connection. And every time I visit his lakeside cottage, I see that contentment in his eyes, a quiet, steady glow of someone who has found peace in their own company. In the end, solitude is a gift I never knew I needed. It's a state of fullness, not emptiness, a way of being that has brought me closer to myself. Far from loneliness, it has enriched my life with a sense of peace and purpose that only comes from learning to truly enjoy your own company. Number 6. Why I avoid people. Life lessons at 70. I've discovered that avoiding people isn't about resentment or grudges. It's about protecting my peace. After decades of giving, learning, and sometimes breaking, I've come to understand that not every relationship is meant to endure. Some connections are fleeting by nature, and recognizing this has been both liberating and bittersweet. This shift hasn't stemmed from bitterness, but from the clarity that comes with time. For much of my life, I gave freely my time, energy, and heart. I sought to be dependable, kind, and accommodating. It felt fulfilling, even purposeful, to prioritize others. But life, in its unrelenting honesty, has a way of teaching you to reevaluate. Years of disappointments, unreciprocated effort, and moments of heartbreak taught me to set boundaries I should have established long ago. I learned that ignoring warning signs or clinging to unhealthy dynamics drained more than it gave. Now, in my 7th decade, I protect my well-being with intention. I've let go of relationships that feel one-sided, interactions that leave me depleted, and people who mistake kindness for weakness. I steer clear of those who thrive on drama or fail to value me as I am. My solitude isn't a retreat, it's a sanctuary. This doesn't mean I've shut the world out. On the contrary, I treasure the bonds that have stood the test of time. The friends and family who give without taking, who care without conditions. These relationships are jewels, polished by years of mutual respect and love. I nurture them deeply, cherishing their presence in my life. But I've let go of the pressure to maintain every connection. A smaller circle, rich in authenticity, is more than enough. Interestingly, stepping back has deepened my appreciation for human connection. Time spent with others is now intentional. Every interaction feels richer because it's chosen, not forced. The weight of obligation has lifted, leaving room for joy. I often wonder if others in their later years feel this shift. Does experience make us more selective? Do we learn to guard our hearts and prioritize inner calm? Looking back, I see how much of my younger life was spent trying to meet expectations, trying to be everything for everyone. That path left me exhausted, with little of myself to spare. Now, I no longer apologize for prioritizing my own well-being. I've stopped feeling guilty for choosing solitude over shallow social engagements. If you've reached this stage of life and find yourself stepping away from certain relationships, know this. It's not selfish, it's self-preservation. This time of life is about embracing what truly matters. It's about shedding what no longer fits and creating space for peace, joy, and growth. For some, that might mean thriving in large social circles. For others, it might mean seeking quiet moments and meaningful connections. Both paths are valid. At 70, I've learned the power of letting go, of people, situations, and expectations that no longer serve me. It's a choice to live authentically, without compromise or regret. In doing so, I found a freedom I never thought possible. So if you find yourself pulling away, don't see it as a loss. See it as a step toward a life that feels right for you. Embrace this chapter as a time for reflection and courage, a time to live on your own terms. Here's to the peace we all deserve. Number 7. 70, a new horizon. 70 is not an end, it's a fresh beginning. Each phase of life has its rhythm, its colors, its lessons. This stage feels like stepping into clarity, a time to honor who I've become and release what no longer fits. In youth we chase. We rush to accomplish, to prove, to gather more. Now I linger. I see beauty in what I once overlooked. Soft sunlight through a window, a kind word, the laughter of someone I love. Simplicity isn't lack, it's fullness. My past is rich with stories, victories that lit me up, failures that taught me strength, and moments of loss that reshaped my heart. Each experience, bittersweet or joyful, has crafted the person I am. Yet 70 isn't just about looking back. It's about turning toward what still calls me. There's room for discovery, for joy in small endeavors. A new skill, a walk through nature, a quiet morning with coffee. These are treasures I savor. This chapter gives the gift of freedom, no longer tied to proving, pleasing, or performing, I'm free to simply be. There's a strength in choosing where my energy goes, and peace in walking away from what drains me. Aging demands courage, the kind that embraces truth without fear. I've learned to prioritize what nourishes my soul, to speak from the heart, to show up fully for life, unapologetically myself. 70 is not about slowing down. It's about leaning into life's essence. It's a celebration of what has been, and a quiet excitement for what's ahead. Each day, each breath, feels like a gift waiting to be unwrapped. I've come to see life through a sharper lens. It's not about the quantity of achievements or possessions, but the richness of what truly matters. Moments of joy, genuine connections, and inner calm. Simplicity has become my treasure, solitude my sanctuary, and clarity my compass. Choosing solitude isn't rejection, it's a commitment to the peace I've nurtured. If you're finding your own way, remember, it's your story to write, your truth to live. Celebrate it fully on your terms. Thank you for sharing this moment with me. Together, we can inspire each other to live with purpose and gratitude. Before you go, I'd love to hear from you. Share one lesson you've learned and how you'll bring it to life. Let's keep this conversation alive. If this resonated with you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. There's more to explore together.